Hello everybody, this is Dave the Rave roving the rock here, and today, as you can see, I'm at the very front of the ferry. This is MV Caledonian Isles on its way towards Ardrossan. The sea looks magnificent, doesn't it? Look at the way the sun's shining off the sea there. It's a lovely day. It's quite windy, a little bit windy. So the ferry's just a little bit rocky, but not bad. That looks great, doesn't it? Pan back round here as well. There we go. Isn't that great? So I'm on the 820 from Brodick to Ardrossan. I'll just put the camera down here. The 820 from Brodick arriving in Ardrossan at 9:15. We're nearly there. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm going to go and see my little sister Morag, who lives in a barge boat, and normally her barge boat is situated in Bowling, but at the moment it's at Kirkintilloch. I'm going to go and ask her why she's moved it. I know it's spent a bit of time in Edinburgh as well recently, so we'll find out how she's doing, especially since she was made redundant and then cycled the length of Britain from Land's End to John O'Groats. And that was a couple of months ago now, so we'll see how she's settling into her new life of semi-retirement. I'm also going to do some shopping. I can't do any at Aldi's in Asda because that is closed for refurbishment, so I'm going to go to Asda, maybe Lidl as well, in Stevenson. This is a rare occurrence for me to go to mainland. I'm quite happy in the island, and I work quite hard, so I'm just busy and I get on with my life usually. But it fills me with a little bit of trepidation in a way because it's unusual. I maybe only go away 2 or 3 times a year, something like that. And so the kind of things that are strange to me, driving in the mainland, for example, I'm a confident driver on the island, but I don't really know the rules of the road so well on the unfamiliar roads like Kirkintilloch. You know, I don't think I've ever been there before. So you've got to watch out and concentrate. So the driving does make me just a little bit nervous. Also, I've got an old car just in case something goes wrong with it. There are other things as well. Something that occurred to me when I was just getting on the ferry. There are emission zones in Glasgow now. I remember hearing about them, and I remember reading that cars 2012 onwards can be affected by that. Mine's 2012. So is it affected? I don't know. And lastly, the ferry's on alert. For the way back, the last boat is on alert because of lights, I think it was, lighting problems at Ardrossan. So there's always that chance of not getting back, which you take that chance. It's weather dependent, it's ferry dependent, it's just a fact, but it is on alert today. So it's a real possibility. I chose today, which is Thursday, because this is the last week that we've got MV Alfred, and on Thursday we have more sailings than Tuesday and Wednesday. Plus it did have cancellations last couple of days as well, so this was like the best weather. So that's why I'm going today. We'll see how my sister's doing when we get there. Okay. Right, so here we are, Dave the Rave, roving the rock and the rest of the world today, which is the mainland.
Mainland Kirkintilloch.
Kirkintilloch. Which is even the place that I didn't even know what it was, apart from I looked around on Google Maps, and that's when I found out. You have to drive through Glasgow, and then it's on about another 10 miles or something from there.
Yeah, a bit north of Glasgow.
But north of Glasgow. So that's where I am today, here to see boat dweller Morag Black, my wee sister. And but the thing is, she's out of position in her boat today because she's in Kirkintilloch. Normally, her home, which is this Fat Boy Fat Boy barge boat.
Canal boat.
Canal boat, which is 10 foot wide instead of the usual 7 foot wide.
Correct.
And 80 foot long.
60 foot long.
Oh sorry, 6 foot, I got that wrong, okay. I was from memory. That's okay. And 6 foot long, 10 foot wide. Amazing, which I love. And so do you, even after a number of years staying in it. It's normally in Bowling.
Yeah.
But it's not in Bowling just now. It has been in Edinburgh as well for a while, hasn't it?
Yep, I went through to Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Festival.
Is that where you went through?
Yeah.
So
I just caught the last week of it.
Okay, so let's find out the goings of your home, the going to and from of your home. So you're normally in Bowling,
Yep.
and then they had the Edinburgh Festival, So Bowling is the very start of the Forth and Clyde Canal,
Correct.
and you have to go through the
Falkirk Wheel.
Falkirk Wheel.
Yeah.
And that eliminates all the rest of the locks and stuff that you would have between.
Well, no, they replaced them.
Yeah.
So the joining of the two canals, the Forth and Clyde Canal and the Union Canal, were a series of locks. I think it's 9.
Yeah.
And they replaced those locks. Well, they were no longer anyway. So the Falkirk Wheel got installed to do that transit between the two canals.
Yeah, and it's an amazing piece of engineering. And I remember reading about it. It takes the power of a couple of light bulbs to turn 100 tons of water around because it's balanced perfectly. So it just spins. You could almost
It's the
just
power of
push it.
7 kettles, I think it is.
It's something like that. 7
but
kettles.
I mean, it's nothing. You know,
It's
when
nothing.
you see, it's like a swimming pool of
100
water.
tons.
Yeah, each of the gondolas it's like a swimming pool with a boat sitting in it,
Yeah.
or 2 boats depending on the size. So you actually see what happens, how they that transfer of mass,
Yeah.
which it's 7 boils of a kettle. It's incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
And you're getting lifted, what was it, 100 feet or something?
Yeah, probably about that.
Amazing. The entire boat in this, and like in a merry-go-round, and then getting dumped on this, what do you call that, where when you're up in the high on the...
So, well, we see when you come from Edinburgh
Yeah.
into the Falkirk Wheels, you're coming in high.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yes.
feel like you're going into like an infinity pool. I don't know if that's what
Yes.
you were looking for there.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's like you're coming in, all you've got is the end of the gondola down low. So you're coming in the boat and you're like, woo!
Yeah.
Make sure don't go
And there's
too
nothing to either
fast.
side as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, there's
railing
no
and
fence.
stuff, but
No
yeah,
fence,
yeah.
yeah. But there is actually no fence in front.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
There's no end to this. It's like-
So there's an end, right? There's obviously an end for your boat would hit.
Yeah.
But when you're standing on the boat, you're up
You can't
above
even
the
see
water
that.
height, obviously. Yeah, exactly. So you're coming in. That's the best way when you come from Falkirk going down into the Forth and Clyde Canal. You come in high. That is the best way to
Yeah.
see the Falkirk Wheel,
Yeah.
rather than coming in low and going up. It's
Going
quite
up,
slow. It's like the slowest ever Ferris wheel you'll ever
Right,
go on in
okay.
your life. I mean, it's nice views when you get to the top, but
Yeah.
and it's interesting watching the whole cogs and all these things turning. But the coming in high, going down is the really impressive one.
And can you see the kelpies from there? Aren't they quite
You
close
can
to that?
actually, because I only came through 2 days ago.
Ah, right.
Yeah, we were like, can we see the kelpies? Yes, we can. So yeah, you can. They're about 3 miles away, something like that.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Okay, so you went over the wheel, well, you out on the wheel, and went to Edinburgh for the festival.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Very good. So when you go through the Forth and Clyde Canal, I've always got to have a crew because you're going through locks and you can't go through that on your own. And actually, it's a wonderful thing. People like coming in boats, so it tends to be, I keep a track of who's been where when, and I had quite a few new people on this year that hadn't been in the boat before moving. They've come to visit me as my friend, but that kind of thing. So that was really nice. Some people just absolutely get blown away by it. They just, it's just so lovely to. It really adds to my journey when somebody just falls in love with it.
Yeah.
So that's been really lovely. But so from Bowling, it has been problematic. The canal is now, well, it's only been open for 20 years, but since it reopened.
Yeah.
But some of the equipment is the original equipment in the canal, and it's old. Some of the newer stuff doesn't work very well, and you get all these problems. So 4 times now this year, I've had a journey booked, a passage booked to go through. It's always through locks.
You've got to book
Passage
it,
booked,
yeah.
yeah, and it's been cancelled at the last minute, the day before. Now I've got crew booked. I was supposed to be coming out of the water to work in my boat in June, so I booked my boat to come through the canal in April before the cycle, then in May when I came back from the cycle, and again in June.
Right.
And each time it was cancelled. Eventually, the 3rd time, they were so embarrassed they actually came to my work and told me, "I'm so sorry, but we have to cancel you again."
Wow.
And it meant my boat didn't get the water, so I've now got a rusting hull under the water, unfortunately.
Right.
Anyway, whatever. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm booked in to go next year. So that's kind of the downside, and you've got to be kind of philosophical about it. That's why I'm sitting in Kirkintilloch. I'm supposed to be in Bowling now, but the Scottish Canals haven't been cutting the weeds, and therefore I can't get through.
So your home is Bowling, that's where your neighbours are,
location.
that's where your street is basically, because you've got this whole line of boats like yours, side by side.
That's where I pay for my mooring,
That's where you pay for your mooring, and you're still paying for that mooring,
Yeah,
and you can't get to your mooring
no,
because it's not been maintained properly.
correct.
I didn't know this, so this is all interesting. We haven't
It's
talked about this.
frustrating. It's
So this
frustrating.
news to
And
me.
it's
so-
also Scottish Canals communication skills are absolutely horrendous. So you'll phone, can I go? I will get back to you.
Wow.
You phone, I haven't heard from you. Oh, we'll get back to you. And like even this one, so I was supposed to be going. It was the last weekend. I was supposed to be going, coming from through the Falkirk Wheel on the Saturday into Glasgow, and then from Glasgow down to Bowling on Sunday. That was the idea. And they came back and said the weeds are too bad. You can't get through. You know, that's it. Kind of thing. So you just, it's just, and as frustrating as it is, when I say they came back about 7 days later. So I'd already crew booked. They'd taken time off work.
Yeah.
It was a Monday. I ended up having to, they said you can't do Saturday, Sunday, you can only do Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I agreed that, but Monday's difficult because most of my friends are still working.
Right.
So 2 people took time off work to come and do it with me on Monday, and then they cancelled it. And it's very
It
frustrating.
never occurred to me that I saw it as kind of a freedom thing, and you can move your home, but it's really difficult to do. Here it's really difficult to do. If you were in England, for example, where they've got a much bigger canal network, would it be
the lock
easier?
gates work differently. So now I haven't actually moved a boat in England, so I don't know how it works, right? But there's something about some kind of water release goes around the side of the locks. So if you mess up opening the locks, you don't empty the whole canal.
Oh, right.
Whereas here in Scotland, there's this huge fear, and we have lots of water. So obviously there must be some kind of. I sound kind of bad because I don't actually know why, right? But the Scottish canals will not let you operate the lock gates yourself.
Yeah,
because you can effectively empty the canal. You're completely dependent upon them. I mean, it's nice in a way because all you have to do is you work the ropes and then they do the gates.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy.
But restrictive because they have to do it.
But that's where, so when I come through, I need crew until I get through the Falkirk Wheel. So it's 17 locks from Bowling to Maryhill, and that's you at the top of the canal.
Wow.
Then from Maryhill to the Falkirk Wheel, you start going down the way.
All right.
So it's 4 locks down. And then the Falkirk Wheel, you've got a lock to go in the wheel, and then 2 locks to then get on the Union Canal. But once I'm on the Union Canal, there are no locks, and there are no bridges that have to open up.
I've heard that.
30 something miles of freedom.
Yes.
So I dropped my crew off at there's a kind of tunnel. It's a really, really cool tunnel. It's all just rocks. It's all just blasted away. So you're going through this long tunnel. It's probably about 400 yards long, and it's just all drippy rocks. Anyway, so I dropped my crew just before that because they can get to the train at Falkirk High Station.
Right.
So through, drop them, and then I've got, I think it's about 35 miles, maybe a 32, something like that. Where I can just potter about, stop here, stop there, and just take it easy and visit people. I've got to know people.
Okay.
Now, you know. And
So
completely
that
on
bit
my
was
own.
good.
Completely on my own. So I spent that all time moving all on my own.
Yeah, but that'd be wonderful.
It's lovely. It's really nice. I feel proud of myself that I can actually operate the boat. Sometimes you're having to stop the boat in the middle of the canal and climb the roof and sort your ropes so when you step off, because it's a 60-foot boat, the only way you can control that boat when you're coming into a pontoon is to have a midline that you bring back to where you are controlling, tiller. And then you step off with that midline, because if you've got a line at the back, you've only got control of the back, and the front of the boat could do anything.
Okay.
You've got the front line, then the back of the boat could be doing anything. So you've got to have something in the middle. And then you can pull it in, pull it back, pull it forward, whatever.
Right.
And there is such a satisfaction of pulling the boat in to a pontoon or whatever, and you just step off, tie up.
Done it myself.
Yeah. It's lovely.
So that's it. So that would all be great if the canals were maintained properly. Basically, that's what it comes down
Correct.
to. But there's a problem just
every
now.
Boater's bugbear is
So
just how awful
it needs
is.
to be sorted out, doesn't it? Yeah.
There's money problems, obviously.
So has anything changed in the boat since we last saw it? You've painted the outside.
Yes, I have. Yeah, that's all really. I only painted the outside about 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't finish the job. It was stupid. There was a section of white going around the kind of outline around the boat, and I didn't like it. So I thought, right, I'll do the main red, and then I'll do that white section at another time.
Right.
And then for the last 3 or 4 years, it just rusted. So I then had to sand it all back. And virtually pretty much everything. So I ended up just redoing the whole sides again, and it's still mainly red, but I've now kind of going reggae colours with yellow and green and a bit of black coming in.
It looks nice. I've seen it, so we'll have a look at that in a wee minute, right?
Okay.
In fact, I could just turn the camera around just to the kitchen, couldn't I?
Yeah, of course.
Since we're here. just to show anybody what this boat's like if they don't remember. So that's the stairs you come down from the outside. That's where the steering bit is, like the back of the boat.
Yeah, and the engine's out there as well.
The engine's out this bit here. We got the wee steps there. And that's like a cover there, but that's just like a canvas cover that comes away.
Depending on the weather, if it's raining I'll keep it on, if it's not raining I'll take it down.
Yeah. And then the rest of it looks like, well, this is the kitchen, diner and lounge. You can see the timber on the ceiling. It looks amazing. I love it. I know Mo at one point was talking about maybe thinking about painting it. I vehemently stopped her from doing that, or at least tried to stop her, because I think the wood looks amazing. That's what I think. I think it's the best thing about it, actually. And I used to live in a house in Springbranch in Brodick, and all the doors and everything, all the timber was original, unpainted. I think it's painted now, but that was something I really liked, because it had never been painted since the house had been, built. And, and they got a real stove there as well. So, put the camera back. So, you stopped work. You made redundant a few months ago, and within about 3 days you found yourself down at Land's End and cycled the length of the country on a bicycle with your stuff. It's going to see its camera. Yeah, that's fine. With your stuff on the bike and your tent and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then you finished that. It took about a month to do.
Yeah.
Was it 1,200 miles?
Yep.
And now you've got your new life, because you're not teaching students and stuff and doing coursework and things anymore. And how's that new life going?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. So
you're not getting bored? You're still enjoying having less to do?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have been quite busy. So I came back from the cycle, and then actually the boat was supposed to come out of the water.
You had a lot of stuff for the boat there, yeah.
Yeah, so the boat was supposed to come out of the water for 2 weeks, and I was supposed to reblack it. I couldn't do that. So that actually gave me a couple of weeks, like, just chilling out a wee bit. To be honest, what I did then was I got all my winter wood cut. I got all my winter wood cut.
Have you seen that?
That's all done. So
enough wood for your stove for the whole winter, for the whole winter.
Yeah, so that's done, and then I've really just had a wonderful time. So I've been away kind of like 4 holidays. I went to Spain. I flew into Santander, and I did part of the Camino de Nord way,
right,
100-mile walk with my friend. It was just wonderful. It was in the middle of the Spanish heat wave, but because we were at the coast, it was 10 degrees cooler than everywhere else.
So
it was just lovely, low 20s, fine, perfect. Did that, and then I went straight from there. So because I have been a lecturer and I used to have 6 weeks holiday, I'm very used to cramming as much as I can into that time. But sometimes you can have too many good things and it ends up being a bit harassing because you're just bouncing. So I did it again this summer, but I did it slightly differently, where I thought, right, what I'm going to actually do is I'm not going to come home. So I'm going to have 2 holidays joined together and not come home in the middle. And then I'll have a wee break, and then I'll have 2 holidays joined together and not come home in the middle of the mega. So Spanish holiday, and then walking holiday. Flew from there to Krakow, and then I got a train.
Is it Krakow or Krakow?
Krakow, I think you say the V is a O. I think that's right.
Good, I don't know.
So into Krakow, and then
I never even got off Arran.
a couple of trains.
This is like back on the mainland here, you know.
This is high excitement in Kirkintilloch.
I don't even know what that was. I've never been Krakow.
Why would you know? You haven't been.
So in Krakow,
yeah, no, Krakow, yeah, and then I got a couple of trains into Ukraine. So therefore, so my partner and I, he was there already, and he, I went out and joined him. So I was there for about 10 days, and
what were you doing in Ukraine?
So we both worked for an organisation called Frontline Kitchens, and so we went to Lviv, which is way over in the west of Ukraine, but Frontline Kitchens make food for the frontline troops. Right. That's what happens. So it's a really interesting organisation. It's because I'm not working, I can afford to do some volunteering, and I have looked at some things, and some things you're like, that's actually just made up. That's nonsense. Like, you pay to volunteer and help somebody make a mud hut. You're kind of like, But this really felt, you know, I didn't know it was going to be until I got there, but it really did feel like you were doing something useful, which was great. So it's a charity organisation. They have like 3 parts to it. One is the kitchen that I worked in most of the time, where you're preparing vegetables mainly. One of them is a dehydrating plant, so almost everything that they do, so let's say potato, the peel of potatoes, that was the bit I was involved with. Then there's a machine, a bit like with your Play-Doh machine when you're a kid. Potato goes in, it comes out as like wee spaghetti bits, and that gets put on trays into an oven. So the oven's about this height, there might be about 20-25 trays in the oven, and it just layer after layer after layer of these potato, and it gets very slowly cooked for hours, and it basically gets dehydrated, so you get dehydrated potato.
That's how you do it.
And they do it the same with beetroot and all sorts of other stuff.
And that's how they get it.
Yeah, so
Convenient.
so they can't control, they don't, no control over who's volunteering or not. They just, if you turn up, you volunteer. So you know, one day there might be 10 volunteers, the next day there might be 25.
Right.
They have no control over what gets donated to them, because you know, local farmers and so on donate the food for it to be, right? So they might get 400 cabbages one day, you know, 1,000 garlic bulbs the next day. You know,
and of
course you can't do them all, you know, continuously. So you know, they have to. Sometimes they need garlic. Garlic goes in a lot of the food just to try and give it flavour.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I know you put garlic in your smoothies. So you'll get that.
I do believe in garlic. Yes, I think garlic, you know, and all the herbs and spices and things. Yes, they're very good.
An advocate for that.
I am. I believe in them. The more the merrier.
Right.
So yeah, I put them in smoothies and soup.
Well, you would approve actually. So that was the kind of kitchen part, right? That was one part. The second part, which I went to, was the packaging plant.
Yeah.
And you make up, you know, the stuff, and it's all very much done by hand. So it's like you weigh out 200 grams of porridge or whatever it is, right? So this really impressed me actually. So it was porridge day the day I was there, and so you get a bag.
Porridge day.
Yeah, we're making up bags of porridge.
Right. In Ukraine.
And there were 17 ingredients went into this.
Right.
Like obviously porridge and milk powder, but then like cinnamon, like multiple things like that. But then dried cherries, dried orange, dried sultanas. You know, no, just sultanas, obviously.
Super healthy then.
Oh, amazing! Honestly, you're thinking I've never had porridge with this many wonderful things in it.
Oh, sugar and fruity and things, and
Correct.
giving it
Of
flavour.
course, sugar was one of them. Yeah, absolutely right. So they get the bag, and the idea is that all of these bags, it's a bit, suppose, like a wonderful pot noodle. You get this bag, and the guys at the front will only have hot water, so they add the hot water
They've got a meal.
and they've got a meal, exactly.
And a nutritious meal at that.
Yeah. So I saw the brand product, so that was really good, right? Because most of the time it was just peeling garlic and you know that kind of thing. In fact, little did I know, right? So I spent days dealing with the garlic, as did many people, and my hands were kind of burning.
No, right.
And then about a week later, honestly, all the skin was peeling down my fingers. You get this thing called garlic burn.
Oh yeah, because it's so kind of hot.
Acidity or something.
Acidity,
I don't know if it is acid or something like that.
Wow.
Anyway, so did that, and then the last part of it is there's the kind of preparing it, the drying it out, and then the packaging it kind of thing. Okay, so I didn't go to the drying out plant, but they did have some drying out ovens in the kitchen I was in, so you kind of got the idea. Anyway, so that's what they do, and the really great thing for me, I have to say, is this Finnish medic student came to the kitchens, and he'd been working behind the front line as a medic, and then he'd come and volunteered at the kitchen in his breaks between going out to the front line. Good on him. Right. And he said the stuff that you know, Ukrainian soldiers have been given, as was he, you know, the same stuff, is just flavourless gruel. It's got everything in it you need to be strong and healthy, but nobody wants to eat it because it's just disgusting. He said if you were to get something like this as a soldier, it would just be amazing. It would just be such a treat to get that. So that you just suddenly
encourages you.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the camaraderie of working with people, and yes, we've done the 400 cabbages, you know, that kind of thing, right? That kind of we've all worked together as a wee team and done it. And also the fact that...
Is that you getting upset about that there?
No.
Okay.
But also the fact that you actually realised that you were making a difference to somebody. You know, that was, you know, but I don't have any great skills, right? I'm not, any chef or whatever, I can peel a potato, but, but actually to be able to contribute and make a difference when, from my point of view, and some people have questioned me about this, but, Ukraine was invaded, and I just found it incredibly shocking that happened, and it's been allowed to happen. and that's the boat heating up. That's
Is it? Oh yeah, the
it's
panel's
sun.
expanding. Yeah.
And yeah, so for me, that kind of what can you do? Oh, I don't think I can do anything. I actually felt like I could do something.
Yeah.
That's something that actually maybe did help, which was
Yeah.
nice, you know. And something I have to admit that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Just to kind of finish that story off, right? Lviv itself, it was quite interesting because it was really busy. And the reason it's really busy is because it's so far over to the west. No Ukrainian man has been able to leave the country since the war started. Right? You're not allowed to leave, obviously, because they may be called up. So people are holidaying within Ukraine, and what they're doing, of course, is going away from the fighting to the west. So Lviv is just jumping.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
'Cause they're all
restaurants are full.
Yeah.
It feels like people on holiday. You walk around, and like the churches are all boarded up, all the windows and everything. So you see things like that. You don't see bombing. There's nothing like that in the west, right? I mean, obviously they get hit with occasional drone hits and that kind of thing. But, but you know, you don't walk around going, "Oh my goodness, look at this war damage."
Not really worrying about
no. But you do see the churches are boarded up. The statues have all got like scaffolding over them and netting to protect them.
Oh, right.
The schools are all sandbagged.
Right.
And then the saddest thing is like, so we had a flat when I've now been staying in a hostel, but when I came, we stayed in an Airbnb, very cheap. So it turned out it was so cheap because it was a loft. Beautiful.
And you don't want a loft? No.
Anyway, we survived
That's a bad
that. But
place
anyway,
to be.
it was a stunning place.
You want a basement.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Jeez.
so we had this lovely loft apartment
Yes.
looking over the main square.
Hold yourself.
Main square of Lviv. But it looked onto, so every couple of days, these new posters would come out of the boys that have died
Right.
in Lviv, that are their funeral the next day. And it's a picture, somebody in their 20s, maybe somebody in their 30s. You know, a couple of, not a couple of people. And you know, there's a wee story about them. Okay, so, and then there is the graveyard where all the new graves for the soldiers are not in the graveyard. Most of them are not because there's just too many. So there's a section, field I suppose probably, that's been dug for all these soldiers just from Lviv that have died, and there are hundreds and hundreds of graves. It's going back. It's beautiful. You know, beautifully tended, flags and flowers, and actually very busy obviously because these people are not long dead. There are lots of people visiting and everything, but that's
So
the
it shows you
side of it, you know.
Yeah, it shows you the reality of it. If it brings it home.
Yeah.
If you weren't so aware of it, because it's more like a kind of like almost like a holiday destination kind of thing in the way, but it's real, even in that place. Yeah. Okay. So you left there, and then where did you go after that?
After Ukraine, I came back for a couple of days, 4, and then I went for another holiday to France.
Yes, that's France.
Staying with friends in their house, and then I kind of flew out of Bristol, and then I joined that up with visiting our wee sister Nikki in Herefordshire, and then also going for a music festival in Exeter for 4 days.
Yeah. So that's holiday.
And then I came back for a couple of days, and then I took the boat away.
Took the boat away.
Yeah.
And
So
now you're back, and now you're almost back to reality or normality, except for you're not back home because you haven't managed to get back home because there's too many beads.
Correct. So I'm waiting in Kirkintilloch for the weeds to be cut.
Yes. That's the rain on, isn't it? On the canvas. Of course, that sounds loud,
It's the
but
canvas.
all the noise is coming from the canvas, isn't it? It's not. It's
you
not
get some
coming.
on the roof, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. A bit like a caravan roof or something.
Yeah.
But
Do you want me to
that's-
shut the door so it's less noisy?
Oh no, I don't mind. I
Sure.
quite like it. It's nice.
Good.
Okay, so in a way, this is now going to be the start of your.
Yeah, normality.
Because you haven't got any more holidays coming
Well,
up.
we have.
I have. Right.
Yeah. So, so in January, I'm spending January in Spain.
Right.
I'm trying to learn to speak Spanish, and a friend is going to be there for a couple of months, so I'm going to join him in January, and then in February I'm going to go back to Ukraine for February.
Oh yeah. All right. Do the same thing again.
Yeah, but out for a month this time.
A month. Wow. Okay. Okay. So you've got a few months of the winter.
Yeah.
October, November, December. So that's going to be more interesting, isn't it? Just to see what happens if you ditch the car or not.
I've got to
If you
save a
carry
bit of
on
money.
cycle. You could do without the car maybe.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
maybe, although cycling.
Well, do you know what we're going to do, right? So my car's due for an MOT next week, and it's 16 years old. So
16, right.
Yeah, so it's obviously, it's not worth spending any money on it at all. But we've set a budget, and if it's cost more than that, which it probably will, we're going to put that money into a bank account.
Right.
That's my partner and I, because we share a car just now. And we share a car, but we live 10 miles apart.
Yeah.
So, one of you, the other
it.
one has the car kind of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, you just get out of the habit of using the car. So we tend to use a car because we're going somewhere together rather
It's
than...
an event, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so we're going to put money in the bank, and then we're going to see whether, we're going to use that. That will be kept separate, a brand new bank account, so that we can use that for taxis, or it's going to be more like, let's go and see Nikki, sister down in Herefordshire, so how do you get there? That's going to cost.
It's going to be trains.
So we're going to, as an interesting experiment, see whether it costs more or less.
But you're going to do it.
Yep.
That's going to come.
And the money will be there in the bank anyway, you know what I mean? So that kind of thought of, all right, we're going to get a taxi, that's awfully expensive, I just won't go. Well, the money's there to do it. That's the point, is instead of spending that on a car, that's for us
I did
to do
that when I stopped smoking. I took out a membership at the swimming pool and stuff like that. You've got to spend the money in another way and recognise that money's been saved, You've got to see it to motivate you.
We're not even for saving, it's just to make sure that we know we can use alternative transport, and in fact, now there are people that have their cars sitting in a driveway all day because they're at work. They can put their car in an app, and it's very much rated by, it really works by ratings. But it's got to be a car that's relatively young, maintained, all that kind of thing, obviously. And you can rent a car, you can do city cars, but this other thing, it's a kind of personal thing. So I can say, right, I'm going to put my car, obviously not my 16-year-old car, my 3-year-old car, on this. I have insurance, and I can then rent that car for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. There's a kind of key system to get the key, and then you return the car with that. And that's a lot cheaper than hiring a car as well. So that will be interesting to see if that works. I live rurally, so I'm not totally sure that's going to work for me. But it would work in Glasgow, obviously.
And you were saying that would mean that you're cycling if you go to work, and on the odd time you go to work. And that would be, what was it, a 17?
Well, it won't be now because I don't work in college anymore. So I've started doing some shifts in a cafe just round the corner from my
It's just round the corner? Yeah. Ah, right, so I thought it was quite far away.
No, it's like a 1 minute walk.
Right, so you really don't,
so
you don't need the car? No, right, okay. Okay, that's alright. Oh, probably will end up without it then.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, it looks like the rain's off.
Yeah.
So we'll go out and have a look at outside the boat.
Yeah, come on then.
Okay, we'll get the camera.
It's not quite off, Dave.
That's okay. This time. Okay. So have you got any more plans in the offing? Give this camera lens away. Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, well, Spain and then Ukraine. That's all.
Yes, but nothing else for you. So you've got some quiet months coming up.
Okay, so the next couple of months, 2.5 months.
I
have actually.
You're going to learn Spanish?
Yeah, I'm going to continue with that. But I am. I am going to get in contact with. I'm doing various things. I've signed up with a talent agency, just for extras. So not prize stuff.
That sounds great.
Unfortunately, I was away, so I had quite a lot of things. They just obviously just do the database and they just send out, are you available? And I haven't been because anyway. But
I'll tell you a quick story just quickly. There's a friend of mine, Fiona Rodriguez, who's on Arran and works at Alcrani, and she was away in the boat the other day, and I was away to being nosy. She says, I'm away to a Taggart reunion because I think it was 40 years since Taggart started, and she says, I was the first person ever killed in Taggart. I was the first person killed, and the first dead body, So she's back at the reunion, she was an extra on the Taggart show, so yeah, it could be quite fun.
Yeah.
Especially 40 years later,
Yeah, it could be. No, all the different people.
I'm still alive. Kill me again. You didn't do it properly.
So that's one. I'd quite like to do some. I mean, I don't know. I might do a couple of these locally to start off. So there's a thing where you can do house sitting, and I'd like to do that abroad. So I would, in order to kind of get a wee bit of a reputation, I might just do a few wee bits here. It tends
Think
to
you
be
can get licensed for
house
that?
slash, no, you don't have to. House slash pet sitting kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I could go and look after somebody's house slash pet for a weekend in Edinburgh. Like
Yeah.
that would start getting a reputation.
I have
And
heard
then-
you can get licensed though. There is something that
Okay.
you can get, like an official approval.
Okay.
Because there's a couple of people doing that on Arran. You don't have to, but it's a reassurance. It's like a certificate to say that you've
Okay.
passed whatever test to say you're a fit and proper person.
Okay.
You know, criminal conviction free, whatever it is.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Not
well,
a
of course you
college
get that when
lecturer.
you're a
College
lecturer.
lecturers need not apply.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm kind of playing with things. So also I've had always this fancy of being a Christmas postie. So
No.
that as well. I did actually get that last year, but I was still working, so that was rubbish. I had to turn it down.
Right.
And also there's an organisation in Maryhill who volunteering who do teach English to refugees, and I have done a teach English qualification.
Right.
Teach English as a foreign language qualification. So and I'd like to take that abroad,
Right.
but I get distracted with you here.
Well, I'm
I'd like
thinking.
I'd like to take it to go abroad and do it,
Yeah.
but again it would be sensible to build up a bit of a reputation that I can actually prove I've done some.
What about playing that?
Yep, that's another.
The Yamaha.
As you can see by the dust,
It's
it's
a bit
not
dusty.
being
It
used
was
very
still
well.
in good tune though, because I
I've
did
got
try
lovely
it.
soft fingers, so I clearly haven't been playing it.
You got to get little rough bits in the end, yeah. Okay, well that's a lot of plans you've got.
Well, they're all very vague. Some of them will
Don't
come
need
off
to
and
be
some of them
anything-
won't. Do you know what I mean?
They don't need to be exact, do they? Because you've got
Just
all
playing
the
with
time in
life,
the world,
to be
really.
honest. Yeah.
It sounds great. And keep up your fitness as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that was mentioned, was it? You've got the bicycle.
Oh, well, no.
You've got the bike in there.
April, I'm going to do another cycle.
Yeah.
But this good time is going to be Western Isles.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Western Isles, eh? How long are you going to take?
A month.
Same as when you did the length of Britain?
Yeah.
A month, eh?
Probably won't do the same number of miles though. But I'd like to
No.
go to lots of islands. I actually need your advice with this. Sit
Okay.
down and do a Kalmaki.
I'd love to do it. The thing is I've got injured elbows and I don't know. But anyway, it'd be nice to do it.
Asked you last year, you turned me down. I'm not asking you this year.
I'm injured. I don't know if I can. I don't know.
Well, you're very welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with jobs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And injuries.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that.
No, wouldn't know either of them. This is the job thing. Hey. Okay, that'll do. That concludes the interview with in Mo's Fat Boy Barge boat.
Which is called Donovan. The
Donovan.
name is going to go on it. I haven't got the name on just now. but
Donovan.
Yeah.
Is that a recent thing you've decided?
No. That's,
Always been
that's
called
always been
Donovan.
that, yeah. So
Just
it's a
hasn't
boy
been
boat.
named. Donovan.
It's quite unusual. Most boats are.
Now you'd think that'd be good for a sailboat, like Catch the Wind. It's not Donovan. That was the song.
Mellow Yellow.
Oh yeah, Millie Yellow. Right, okay. Yeah. I came across someone with a Volkswagen camper the other day, and it was green, and I filmed it. It's on my Facebook page. It was an old split screen one from the 60s, and it was called Dylan. And he's got another one at home called Dougal. So that's after the Magic Roundabout. Okay. I happen to have read something about the Magic Roundabout a couple of weeks before, and the person who invented the Magic Roundabout with all the colours left green out because he hated green. And right enough, the Magic Roundabout's got no green in it. It's got all the colours of the rainbow apart from green. That's the actual colour that his camper van was green.
So he's deliberately chosen this knowing
He didn't know this. I told him, and just came back to me and said, wow, I didn't know. In a way, you could say, well, that was one that was left out, but also that completes the picture if you want to look at it that way.
Nice.
But that was a bit like Donovan. That was Dylan because it was like, hey, laid back, you know, take it easy.
Okay.
And that's kind of the way I think about Donovan as well.
I don't know where why somebody decided to call it Donovan. I mean, the boat's not old.
You didn't decide to call it Donovan?
No. The boat's not old. It's 13 years old.
How did you find out it was called Donovan?
It's always been that since I bought it.
How do you know?
Because you get a proper certificate.
Is
It's like a car. You have proper
You're buying
ownership
like a
of
£100 boat
documents.
and it's called Donovan.
Yeah, exactly.
So nobody did that with my Vauxhall Corsa.
Didn't get my name.
No,
Ah.
it's just Vauxhall.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean you do have this number,
You do? Right.
which I don't know, I've never had to officially give it to anybody. I'm sure it doesn't have it, or
But it gets a name. A boat gets a name.
Every boat has a name, yeah.
I suppose it's a bit like a house though, isn't it?
And that's
'Cause
why you
it's-
see like Donovan 2, Donovan 3. You can't have two Donovans.
Well, you've got Donovan. That sounds good.
Thanks.
You could sell that name.
But I've got to decide on the styling of the, you know.
I'm selling the boat, it's 100 grand, but it's 150 because it's called
Oh,
Donovan, it's the original.
But I
It's
don't know
only
whether to, because I'm kind of like into reggae, you know, Donovan's not really, you know, like even like assuming it is named after Donovan the singer.
yeah.
He's not reggae, but he's 60s, so it could be kind of bubbly style or something. But I don't know what. I need to kind of think about what I'm going to do there, or do I just go name and then that's it? Don't do anything too fancy.
I think you'd look up the songs. It's going to be Donovan. I would look up the songs and pick my favourite one. If it was Catch the Wind,
and do it
or
in the
whatever it was.
style.
Like,
Do it in the style. It's the font kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. Like how do I? How do I,
yeah.
Yeah. How do I make it look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Do I make it look 60s? Do I make it look reggae? Do I make it look?
And that is what we'll do in the next exciting episode of Mo Goes Fat Boy Barging with Donovan. Okay, that'll do. Dave the Rave and Mo over and out.